want to build a micro SaaS, and for that, first I need to find some idea. Or how I would say, I need to find a problem. Why a problem? Because customers, they want solution and not ideas. They care really if you solve their problem. And the shortcut I want to take is to solve my own problem. Because there are a lot of methods and we can later take a look into them. But I think why the shortcut, at least for me, of solving my own problem is great is, first of all, I can dog through that. You maybe heard of Simon. And he also said that because if I solve my own problem, then I'm my customer number one. And of course, I know how the product should look like. And he said it in the context of validating your SaaS idea. And the one point is you can dog food it. And then the other one, your problem is big or frequent and you can afford to solve it and still make a profit. But to the part of validation, I don't want to talk too much about it today. We are now here in the process how I can find some idea for my SaaS. And the second point here by Noah is I shouldn't search for opportunities outside of my zone of influence. What he means with that, so I have a certain zone, like the people I know, my followers and so on. And if I solve my own problems, again, this is a huge benefit. Because, for example, if I solve a problem for my hobby, it's most likely that I know people that also have the same hobby. Or my profession is a software engineer, so if I solve their problem for software engineers, in my job also I know, of course, other people doing the same. And then the next, so how does my process look for capturing problems? So I'm using Signal as my main messengers, but the same works in WhatsApp too. So you can create a group. For example, my group is called Problems, and you can also pin basic chats to your home screen, so it's really fast for me to access it. So I just can go directly from there to my chat. It's called actually Problem Seeker, and there I post basically different information just if they came into my mind, and you can see there are also a lot of deleted messages because it's just like a temporary storage. And then I basically move the ideas to another place. But for me, it's really great to just use Signal because I can really quickly dump the text, audio, images, links, and so on. It's really, really fast. So I can also, when I have a chat with someone, just write really quickly information down so I don't forget it. And as said, the same will also work for WhatsApp. There you can also write notes to yourself. So I collect all the ideas I have. And of course, there's a lot of crap, but I really try to get my mind free. First of all, write down problems. If I can solve them or I want to solve them, this is a different story. And then I also have a database and Notion, but of course any other tool works too, where I then also collect more details about them. For example, here you can see some ideas I had in the past. I categorize them by certain topics, and also basically I give them a certain stage. So if I reject them or if I'm excited to solve them and so on. And there, basically if you click on one of the ideas, not for all of them, but sometimes, then I also save the additional information, because when I have some new problem, I mostly start Googling stuff, and then when I find, for example, here other services which are doing something similar or some other information which comes into my head, I dump them here. It's really not any kind of format, it's just about dumping. And this process really helps me to get more into this mindset of really capturing problems. Because when I started, I was like, I don't have any. But then I really started doing that more frequently. And then I really saw more and more problems coming. And as said, there's a lot of crap in it. And it's also stuff I maybe don't want to solve. But still my mind basically starts slowly changing and really seeing problems and finding them, which is of course good. And I don't really want to go into details, but of course there are a lot of different methods how you can validate them. So here's my internal list of things I can do to validate them. But also some easier one from, again, Noah is, in the best case, you focus on solving a painkiller and not a vitamin. So it's like a painkiller, he means this is some must-have for customer, and some vitamins, this is just a nice-to-have. But to be honest, I wouldn't really start with this. Don't focus too much on the validation. Is it the greatest idea ever? Because my idea is, once I'm started to develop really something, maybe get a few customers, then there may be new problems revealing. So I think the main point, at least for me, is to really getting started. So for now, I don't really care about the validation. And as said, there are also a lot of different methods. I don't want to go into detail there too. For example, you can check what people search, and you can also read in forums and so on. You can also use some AI. And at some point, I even wrote a guide about that. But as said, I will take the shortcut of just solving my own problems. And just to give you a sneak peek, I have currently different things in my head. For example, one problem is building and track really good habits. For example, one habit I have, which works quite well, is like doing sports twice a week. But there are other habits which I want to introduce, and I already tried a lot of different habit trackers, but they don't really work quite well for me. And the other thing is to post code on social media, so it looks really nice. So the tool would be something like a social media image creator. These are just some examples I have. And there I also really try to get the following into my brain. Someone already had my idea. Yeah, for sure. Any idea you have, if you Google it, most likely someone already had the same idea or the same problem. But just keep in mind, as for example, hairdressers or also restaurants, there are really a lot of change. So mostly there's a lot of space for like different services. And I think the same is true also for online service. So also for that, I don't really care. I think if you build a good product, then there probably will be space, and I shouldn't really worry about that. So that was my short introduction about how I try currently to find a problem. Let me also know in the comments, how do you try to find ideas or problems for your Micro SaaS? Bye bye.